Good morning and afternoon to everyone, and welcome to today's webinar entitled Opportunities for Collaboration Between BC Post-Secondary Institutions and Mexico. My name is Colin Dewar, and I am the Director External Relations at the BC Council for International Education, and I will be today's moderator. BCCIE is a provincial agency under the Ministry of Advanced Education, Skills and Training, advancing the interests of international education throughout the entire education sector in the province, including K-12, higher education, and languages. Before we get started, and prior to introducing our presenter, it's important to acknowledge at BCCIE, we live and work on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Now, just on to a couple housekeeping items. Attendees will be muted during today's webinar, and if you'd like to submit a question to our presenter during the broadcast, please type those questions in the question box on the control panel, and we'll get to those at the end of Sandra's presentation. If you do require any technical assistance during the webinar, please also use the question box, and we will help answer those questions during the webinar as well. Also, just a reminder, we previously sent out a survey to all attendees, and we invite you to complete that probably after today's webinar. It's an opportunity to give some feedback to AMEXCID around some of the opportunities and some of the barriers around mobility between British Columbia and Mexico. So we would both appreciate if you can take a little bit of time to fill that out, and with that information, hopefully we'll be able to strengthen our cooperation as well. So just a couple more comments. So thank you again for joining us for the session that will further advance BC's growing relationship with Mexico as we work to develop strategic partnerships that advance international education opportunities between our jurisdictions. The type of work we take on here, especially in the absence of travel and face-to-face meetings, requires many elements for its success. We still need to meet, to discuss, to get to know each other, and probably most importantly, to build trust. Today's efforts and this session are far upstream from their ultimate goals of providing opportunities that eventually manifest in the student experience and learning. Nevertheless, today's activities provide critical platforms that effectively set the table for all those downstream activities of student and faculty mobility, learning, advancing research. They also help advance the values of internationalization and global cooperation that we hope contribute to a better life for us, communities, and our planet. So we are delighted and honored to now have Sandra Guzman Gutierrez, Innovation Specialist with North America, Mexican Agency of International Cooperation for Development, to join us for today's session. Sandra is in charge of AMEXCID's external relations component in the areas of technical, scientific, and academic cooperation with North America. She manages AMEXCID's sponsored academic mobility projects with the United States and Canada, including scholarship programs for Canadian students, Proyecta 10,000 and Proyecta 100,000. So I will turn over the presentation now to Sandra. Thanks, Sandra.
Thank you, Colin. Hello, everyone. I'd like, first of all, thank the organizers of this webinar for inviting me here today. I'm here on behalf of the Mexican Agency for International Development Cooperation, AMEXCID, and the Government of Mexico. My name is Sandra Guzman Gutierrez, and I am a specialist in academic innovation with North America. I am really delighted to be here today. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is the opportunities for collaboration between BC post-secondary institutions and Mexico. My talk is particularly relevant to those of you who are interested in creating opportunities for foreign students to come to your institutions, and also for those of you searching for programs for opportunities for your Canadian students. In my presentation, we will focus on three major issues. The first one is what is AMEXCID and what we do. The second one, the educational objectives of the government of Mexico. And finally, what we offer and what we are looking for. With all of this, I'd like to put you in the picture about what AMEXCID is looking for and what we offer to other countries. So first of all, let's go to the first point. La Agencia Mexicana de Cooperación Internacional para el Desarrollo, AMEXCID, is a decentralized organ of the Mexican Ministry of International Relations. Created in 2011, it has specific functions to deal with matters related to international development cooperation. For us, cooperar es compartir, meaning cooperating is sharing the best of Mexico to face global challenges and grow together. We work to build strategic alliances with the private and academic sectors, civil society, and local governments, contributing to sustainable human development, reducing inequality, and improving people's quality of life. Education opens up a world of opportunity for the citizens of any country, but in a particular way for those developing countries where the educational offer is limited. Through our scholarships, offer an academic exchange program for foreign students, teachers, researchers, and experts, we contribute to facilitating the training of the future leaders of the world. In addition to creating programs and offering scholarships for foreigners to come to Mexico, we have a promotion and dissemination center where we concentrate different scholarship and academic programs offered from foreign governments to our Mexican students to strengthen their academic preparation. I'd now like to move on to the next part, the educational objectives of the government of Mexico. The Mexican government seeks to abolish the social gap and strengthen itself as a country through academic cooperation. Efforts are concentrated on support educational projects that encourage the development of human capital through the exchange of knowledge and practices with other countries. Currently, Mexico has a solid set of higher education institutions, which we intend to make known with our international partners. So it is now necessary to renew alliances between the actors involved and the construction of political agreements, in which higher education institutions are strengthened as high-level academic spaces and contribute to the solution of local, regional, and national problems, as well as meet the needs of their social environments. We are focused on supporting academic mobility, but also have a big commitment to overcome language barriers. Our goal is to make academic collaboration more inclusive in matters of gender, indigenous populations, and different educational levels to ensure the opportunities benefit a wider population in both countries. AMEXCID is open to collaborate in the creation of new initiatives designed to tackle today's formidable challenges. That brings me to the most important part, what we offer and what we are looking for. I am happy to say that we have already had the pleasure of collaborating with some of the colleagues who are present today through our Projected 10,000 program and others through our Mexican government grant program for Canadian Indigenous students. Now, first of all, we have to clarify that unfortunately Projected 10,000 was created with a marked lifetime from 2015 to 2018. It was successful thanks to the collaboration of both parties, but now we are focused not only on the development of language skills, but also, as I mentioned before, the development of human capital. I am proud to mention that we have a wide range of programs that we share with all our international partners. And these are not only focused on education, but today we will talk about the three main academic projects, how to take full advantage of them, and possible areas of opportunity. The first of them is the Mexican government's Merit Award for International Students. Based on the law for international cooperation, with the purpose of maintaining the position of Mexico as an actor with global responsibility, the Mexican Ministry of International Relations, through AMEXCID, invites foreign citizens interested in conducting studies in Mexico. This call is open to citizens of more than 180 countries within the framework of various bilateral conventions, multilateral programs, and special agreements. More than 100 Mexican higher education institutions in all around the country participate. all of them offering academic programs registered in the National Program of Quality Graduate Degrees of the National Council for Science and Technology, CONACYT. These programs demonstrate the advancements that the country has made in the fields of science and humanities. By offering Mexican government scholarships for international students, Mexico strengthens its role as an actor with global responsibility and renews its commitment to cooperation programs that helps create highly skilled human capital. The presence in Mexico of international students, academics, and scientists helps build permanent bridges of dialogue that enrich the long-term foreign policy agenda through contributions of exceptional value for the country and its partners abroad. In addition, the Mexican institutions and academic community benefit from the increased internationalization. Unsuccessfully, each year Canadian applicants decrease. That is the reason why we are looking for partners in other Canadian provinces to take full advantage of it. Our program is open for the training of foreign professionals at bachelor and postgraduate levels. This includes in full-time programs, academic mobilities, or research stays in one of our higher education institutions. All of this with the purpose of strengthening the links with partner countries, the training of human resources, and the internationalization of higher education institutions. We know that one of the biggest challenges for Canadian students to come to Mexico is the language barrier. Fortunately, we have a wide range of programs and institutions throughout the country taught in Spanish and English, so it is not strictly necessary for grantees to carry out their programs in Spanish. I'll give you an extensive and profound overview about this program so you can think about the possibilities of partnerships with us. All scholarships awarded under this program must be in academic activities from the beginning of March to the end of December of the current scholarship year in the following modalities. As you can see on the chart that is being shown on your screens, we have bachelor's, we have investigation stays, we have specialization programs, master's degrees, doctorates, PhDs, and also subspecialties. The shorter scholarships have been for 2 months and the longer have been for 4 years. AMEXCID will grant the following to applicants selected as grantees. First, for scholarships for undergraduate mobility specializations, master's degrees or master's level research and courses of Spanish language and Mexican culture, a monthly stipend of 10,000 Mexican pesos approximately. For doctoral programs and research stays, postdoctoral fellowships and medical specialties and subspecialties, a monthly stipend of 13,000 Mexican pesos approximately. Registration and tuition fees as established by the program at each institution, and when applicable, health insurance through the Mexican Institute of Social Security. This means it is from the 3rd month of the scholarship. The grantee must have health insurance that covers both major and minor medical expenses and provides international coverage for his or her first 2 months in Mexico. We cover the cost of issuance of temporary resident student visa for stays longer than 180 days. Depending on the reciprocity with the partner country, we offer you a round-trip international airfare at the beginning and satisfactory term of the scholarship. Canada is included in this reciprocity agreement, so the air tickets for your students will be covered. We are seeking that just as we offer opportunities for foreigners to come to Mexico, Mexicans have new and greater educational opportunities abroad. This program has already an agreement with the province of Quebec. It consists in the assignment of 14 scholarships for Quebec students each year, and in reciprocity, they provide Mexican students a certain amount of scholarships from their additional tuition fee exemption program. As I said, we also have signed reciprocity programs with other countries, where we assign a determined number of scholarships and they donate another number of Mexicans under the same guidelines. So we would like to keep signing agreements like this one with other provinces, consortiums, or institutions in Canada, either under the reciprocity framework or these resident fee scholarship programs. We are open to every opportunity offered. The next one is our Mexican government grant program for Canadian Indigenous students. With a commitment to strengthen the Mexico's position as an actor with global responsibility, as well as broaden the links of academic collaboration in the field of intercultural and bilingual education, gender equality, and the preservation of Indigenous traditions and customs worldwide, the Ministry of International Relations, through AMEXCID, invites Canadian higher education institutions interested in academic exchanges through short exchanges with Mexican intercultural and bilingual universities to participate. This grant program is a result of the renewed academic collaboration between Canada and Mexico. AMEXCID has created this grant program to recognize innovative initiatives that increase access to international education, aimed at the students traditionally underrepresented. The recognition of this right to be diverse is crucial for an inclusive higher education that successfully includes Indigenous communities in our countries. In 2016, more than 25 million people in Mexico, around the 21%, declared to self-identify as members of an Indigenous community, while in Canada, the Indigenous population amounts approximately to 5% of the national total. The preservation and promotion of Indigenous languages and cultures from a gender perspective is a challenge for our educational systems. Through this grant program, up to 42 complementary supports will be awarded for 7 groups of up to 5 Canadian students and 1 university-appointed faculty member to carry out activities in conjunction with a Mexican intercultural and bilingual university. This grant includes a 2-way airplane ticket, Canada-Mexico-Canada, ground transportation to the host intercultural university in Mexico, and a stipend of up to 7,000 Mexican pesos per person. We are convinced that this grant program is an unprecedented opportunity to enhance bilateral exchange between the Indigenous and intercultural academic communities in both countries. How this grant works. First, we publish the call with the list of the Mexican bilingual intercultural universities that participate and the cultural activities that they offer. The Embassy of Canada in Mexico helped us to send this call to all the Canadian institutions. Second, the Canadian institutions interested in participating must select a group of students that identify themselves as belonging to one of the Canadian Indigenous communities, Inuit, Métis, or First Nations, etc. This is the most important point of this scholarship program. Third, the participating Canadian institutions must select an institution in Mexico from the published list, the program that most attracts their attention, and state the reasons why they want that program so that their group can be assigned to that institution. Finally, the selected Canadian groups receive their plane tickets and their scholarship award. The group may participate in one or more of the following modules at the host institution. Program academic advisors in Spanish. Visiting students can improve their Spanish language skills. Program of academic advisors in English. Visiting students can participate in conversation clubs in English with the purpose of supporting Mexican students to improve their skills in this language. Program of academic advisors in native languages of Mexico. Visiting students will be able to learn basic expressions and conversations in some of the native languages that are spoken in the immediate context of the intercultural universities, and to experience an approach in the daily life of the culture. Courses on interculturality, sustainable tourism, traditional medicine, entrepreneurship, business administration, environmental protection, knowledge exchange, assessment of traditional knowledge, cultural exchange, etc. Because of the current COVID pandemic situation and to ensure the health of students in both countries, this year's call was cancelled. We would like to find opportunities for our Indigenous students to go to Canada too, and to live a similar experience through a similar program or so. So we are also open to hear every idea or opportunity you may have. And the last one, but not the less important, we have the Mexico Chair. The Mexico Chair aims to increase knowledge about Mexico within the Canadian academic opportunity and society, as well as to encourage exchanges and cooperation between Mexican and Canadian higher education institutions. For this purpose, the chair brings a Mexican expert who shall support and undertake activities such as research, teaching, community lectures, analysis, and dissemination of information about Mexico. This is an agreement signed between the Government of Mexico through AMEXCID and a higher education institution in Canada. We already had agreements with University of Calgary and the Sask Alliance. The chair is once a year for a minimum period of 4 weeks to a maximum of 8 weeks to provide lectures and workshops in the area of the shareholder expertise. The shareholder must first be a professor or scholar from a Mexican higher education institution with a master or a PhD degree. Being an expert in Mexican media and communication, history, political science, arts or culture, technology, etc. This will depend on the Canadian institution's needs. And being proficient in English and be able to teach or lecture and communicate in that language. The benefits given by this scholarship are: the Canadian University will grant the shareholder a prorated monthly stipend of 2,500 Canadian dollars for the holder's accommodation, living expenses, medical care, and ground transportation in Canada. AMEXCID will cover the Mexico-Canada-Mexico air transportation in economy class. As I mentioned before, we already have agreements with University of Calgary and the Sask Alliance. We want to increase these kind of agreements with other Canadian institutions, consortiums, or alliances to promote our country as an academic destination. So if this opportunity sounds interesting for some of you, I would be pleased to guide you through this signalment process. That covers just about everything I wanted to say about the opportunities of collaboration with AMEXCID. With this, I close my presentation today. It has been a pleasure for me to be present to present our proposals to encourage academic cooperation and strengthen ties with our educational partners. If you wish to collaborate with us, I would be happy to answer all your questions and comments. Thank you for listening. I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks so much, Sandra, for that presentation and covering the Merit Awards, the Indigenous Students Program, and the Mexico Chair. That was really, really detailed and I think really helpful for our institutions listening to think about what might be the opportunities for closer engagement and collaboration and reciprocity, as you flag with our institutions as well. I'm going to encourage questions at this point, so please put those into the question box if you have any questions you would like Sandra to answer at this stage. I do have a couple questions I can begin to pitch to you, Sandra, if you are ready. So I guess the first question I have here is how do Canadian students know what courses or programs are included into the merit awards area for students or international students, in this case coming from British Columbia?
Okay, when we publish our call, we publish also a list of institutions. So the Canadian students who are interested in participating in this program, they should pick just one of the institutions options, and they can be guided to another link where they can see the whole complete list of the programs that I offered by that institution. So there are two lists, one of the complete institutions, and each institution has another list of the complete programs that they are offering covered by this Merit Awards program.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. I have another question. What's the process to finance the Mexican students? I think you covered that in the slide, but is there any further information about that?
Yeah, well, just to be clear and to make it easier to understand, through AMEXCID, we can finance Mexican students. What we do to collaborate is we offer opportunities for foreign students to come to Mexico, and then other countries offer opportunities the same way for our Mexican students. But we also have managed, as you say at the beginning of this webinar, we have managed programs as Proyecta 10,000 and Proyecta 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
The budget from those programs came from the Mexican Ministry of Public Education. So we were just managing the budget, and we were the link between the Canadian institutions and the Mexican institutions. So sometimes we cover programs like that too.
I see. Thank you for that. I have a question here that's asking about expansion or further development of scholarship budget for Canadians, I guess in this case coming to Mexico.
Okay, so as I said, we have, for example, an agreement. We have already signed an agreement with Quebec, and what happens at the beginning? We had we call it a bag of scholarships. We have scholarship, like 15 scholarships just for Canadian students to come to Mexico. But when we signed the agreement with the province of Quebec, we reassign other scholarships that we already have from our complete bag to these Quebec students. So we pick up 14 scholarships just to assign them directly to the province of Quebec. We have maybe like 3,000 scholarships per year just to be reassigned for each country or province who has signed an agreement with us. That's the way we move our budget.
I see. Okay. Thank you. I have a question here related to Indigenous programming or Indigenous students. For that particular program, do you have any examples or funded initiatives that you can share? And the second question I pitched to you now, do institutions need to sign an agreement to participate, or is this an open call?
This is an open call. Nobody has to sign an agreement. We have worked together. We have worked really close with our Mexican Ministry of Public Education. So they have also a list of our intercultural and bilingual institutions. So they work with us. We just assign the scholarships for the Canadian students, Canadian Indigenous students who wish to come to Mexico to this short-term exchange program, and we assign them directly to those institutions. That's why when we launch our call, we need institutions to choose one of our Mexican institutions and to state why or what's the reason why they want to go to that institution. So we assign them directly. There's no need to have an agreement. It's an open call too, and it's open each year.
Okay, good. Thank you. Sandra, do you plan to offer the program for Indigenous students virtually? And maybe I can just add a question around virtual programming and in general for any of the initiatives that you're discussing today.
We were discussing about virtual programs at AMEXCID because we understand it wasn't a great year for us canceling some of our programs. I don't think this program will become virtually, but we can try to open or to create a new one for those who are not willing to come to Mexico, but they are still desiring this exchange of knowledge. So maybe we have to create a new program because this one is not going to be virtual. We are moving it for this year's call. We're moving it for March 2021, and we are going to open another call for 2021 in the end of November.
Okay. Thank you. I have another question related to Indigenous programming. Are you able to provide an update on the Canadian Indigenous Mobility Scholarship offered through the External Affairs Office in Mexico? I'm not sure if that's connected to AMEXCID or if that's a different program. That was one of the questions we had.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that one.
I guess there might be a External Affairs Office in Mexico. I don't know if that's not clear, if that's a Canadian External Affairs or a Mexico agent. It sounds like a Canadian External Affairs Office. If there's any, if you're aware of that, if there's any update, but perhaps maybe if somebody can clarify that, that sent that question, that would be helpful. But Sandra, is there any other Indigenous programming or collaboration offered, say, by the federal government outside Canadian federal government or other programs that might dovetail with some of the work AMEXCID is doing?
There are other programs, but I don't have the details because, I mean, this program that I have presented today is the one from AMEXCID. And as far as I know, CONACYT has another one but this is dedicated just for women in Mexico, Indigenous Mexicans women to go to Canada. But I don't have any details about that program because, again, that's from CONACYT. And it might be another one from an institution in, I don't know if it's in Veracruz or something in the state of Mexico, that they have another program, but that's not federal one, that's a state.
Okay. Just a question related to mobility. I think you referenced language can be a big barrier for Canadian or British Columbian students coming to Mexico. But can you elaborate on that a little bit more in terms of what you see are some of the challenges, and kind of part two of that, what do you think Canadian institutions can do to improve the attractiveness or understanding of what the opportunities would be to address maybe some of those challenges or barriers?
Well, we've been speaking with our Canadian partners, and most of the institutions that have give us some advices and reasons why their students are not taking our scholarships is because they were afraid of taking a complete program in Mexico but in another language. So what we also discovered is since the beginning of these scholarships programs, we had programs in English and Spanish because we have bilingual institutions in Mexico. And maybe Canadian students thought at the beginning that it's just related like Mexico, it's Spanish, and that's all. But we have a wide range of programs and offers. And maybe, I don't know, something that Canadian institutions can do to use more of our scholarships, it could be just explain them that there's no reason to be afraid of. They can have English programs because we understand English is the most speaking language in the whole world. So sometimes for some students or for some people, it's not so necessary to learn another language. And if they don't want to learn another language, for us, it's okay. What we want is with this program is just to make an exchange of knowledge. So maybe that's the main point. Institutions should say their students that they are able to have English classes or English programs in Mexico too.
Okay. I'm aware that one of the barriers that Canadians or institutions sometimes talk about are the security concerns in Mexico. Can you comment around that, and again, maybe how we can better understand that, or students can understand that?
Sure. We are aware of this problematic. Each embassy, even the Mexican embassy in Canada and the Canadian embassy in Mexico, we have a complete map of the country where you have specific areas that are not so secure as others. And the good point of this scholarship is that you don't have strictly to come to Mexico City, or you don't have strictly to go to a specific area of the country. As I said, we have programs all around the country, so there are other places you might feel safer, like in the south of the country. We have heard from some Canadian students who wish to go to a warmer place with a beach or so. They used to go to Quintana Roo or to Tabasco or to Veracruz. And just to be sure, or to be clear, if each year if you want to apply to our scholarships calls, you're open to go to our embassy or consulates, or you are open to call to AMEXCID. Our contacts are always in this open call, and you can contact us, and you can feel free to ask questions such as, hey, I want to go to this place, I want to make this program, do you think I will feel safe, or how are the restrictions over there? And I can explain you completely. There's no problem on giving any information about the security in the country.
Okay, good. Thanks for that information. Sandra, can you clarify the difference between regular universities and intercultural universities? Can you elaborate on what specifically the intercultural universities are?
Yeah, just to make it an easy point, regular universities, they are like the whole university in the whole world. They just go and you get to learn some things. You get to study stuff like medicine or law, international relations, etc. In an intercultural university, you are able to learn those programs too, but they are mixing our indigenous traditions into their programs. Like some of the students are studying maybe law, but they have also, it's law directed to indigenous problems. So sometimes they have to learn to indigenous languages and traditions to understand better how those communities work, or what are their costumes, just to apply to the law. I don't know if I make my point clear. Okay.
No, that's I think really helpful.
Yeah, that's a small example.
Okay, thank you. The deadline for the merit award says December 10th online. Can you let us know when the next cycle will be so we can promote?
Okay, they were working, that's not in my apartment, but they were working to open this call. They were trying to open it in December. I'm not sure if it's going to be open in December, because this year we didn't have an open call, but later March 2021 is going to be an open call. We know, as I said, we know our programs have to be from March to December of the current year of the scholarship, but we're going to make some adjustments for it's going to be an exception for this year and the next one, but just for this time, because normally our call is open each year around August, and it's closed in November, so we assign the scholarships December, January to come in March.
Great. Okay, thank you. Can you share the details of the Mexico Chair Agreement with the University of Calgary, and the details of how that looked like? For example, how long was the chair at Calgary? What activities did he or she take part in? Who supported the initiative, etc.?
Okay, we signed an agreement for 5 years, and we have to renew this agreement because they like it. I don't remember the topic of the chair of Calgary, because we have chairs. I mean, I gave those examples from Calgary and SASC Alliance, but we have also chairs, Mexico chairs in the USA, in South Africa, all around the world. So in Calgary, I think it was about art, if I remember well. They give us some guidelines that they would like to have about the Mexican culture in art and stuff like that, history. They gave us all the guidelines, and then we put it in our agreement. We signed an agreement for 5 years, and as I said, we have to renew it next year. And then each year, University of Calgary established, we want a Mexican shareholder every February each year. So the year before, we publish our scholarship like 3 months before the scholarship, the 3 months before the chair, sorry. And then we open the call, we choose our Mexican holder, and then we buy the tickets, and we talk to University of Calgary. We selected 3 Mexican teachers, and then we send them to Calgary. So Calgary choose the one who is going to be the chairholder for the year for the current year. And yeah, that's more or less how it works and how it's going with Calgary. And again, even last year, University of Calgary was in a big meeting, and it's called the Canada-Mexico Partnership. They also bring it to the table. They said they wanted to renew the agreement because it was successful, and they were very happy receiving a Mexican teacher going to Calgary and giving their students another point of view about those topics that they have chosen.
Okay, great, thank you. Does AMEXCID collaborate on any scholarship opportunities with MyTax?
No, we were searching to collaborate with MyTax. We haven't found a way to create a program, and we would love to. Okay,
good. Sandra, I think we're largely at the end of our questions. Unless something else comes in soon, I think what I'd like to do now is thank you for your presentation and your time. And I really hope that we are in a position to get some traction on these great opportunities that you've discussed today, and for our institutions to think about how to work collaboratively and with reciprocity with AMEXCID. So thank you again for that. So I'll close the session there. Just a couple reminders for the attendees here. You will receive a short link, just a survey that we'd like you to fill out so we can strengthen our offerings moving forward as well. So if you can complete that. And also a reminder about the link for the AMEXCID questionnaire that we're looking to get a little bit more information from your perspective around some of the barriers and opportunities for students coming to Mexico. And we covered some of those today, but we would like, if you can take a few minutes, a little bit deeper dive into that for us and give Sandra that information that hopefully will begin to address some of those issues that we have. So again, I'll leave it there. Gracias, Sandra, for joining us today. It's wonderful you've taken the time, and again, we look forward to working with you in the future. And just a reminder, this will be recorded, this webinar. And if anybody has any follow-up questions, you can contact Sandra directly. If you don't have her contact information, we can get that for you, but I think it will be in the slide deck. So again, thanks so much, Sandra. Thanks to my colleague, Gabrielle, on the back end of today's webinar as well. I very much appreciate your support as my internet connection stalled just a few minutes before you're about to start. So I'm glad that all worked out. So thank you again, and we'll leave it there. Thanks, Sandra.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you, everybody at BCCIE. See you later. Bye.